So if you really like cars or you're just into them and you're following the daily news, you've probably heard that Tesla, a huge EV car company, has just released its Robotaxi. Maybe you've seen Waymo, and right away I can see that they're big competitors. Waymo is driverless taxi. They've been doing it for a few years. Tesla has just released it and it's looking pretty promising to me. So right away I see that they're big competitors, and it's also a chance for me to make a video about it. So now I'm going to talk about how Waymo and Tesla are better than each other, how they're the same, and how one of them is actually worse in some ways, and which one should you get into if you have a chance. Is the Robotaxi or Waymo better? Let's just dive in this video. Let's just talk about some history. I'll talk about Waymo first. Waymo first started in 2009. It was actually by Google. You might have seen some old Waymo cars that look like Google and have Google logos on them. It actually started as a Google project, but later in 2016, Waymo actually becomes a separate LLC company. So now they are no part of Google, but they are still under Alphabet, but as a separate company. A year later in 2017, it gives its first ride just to its members, but in public cities and roads. It's not open to the public yet, but it does give rides to its members and employees just for testing. 3 years later in 2020, it finally becomes public, and now everyday people can use it. It's not in Seattle, unfortunately, but it is in Austin, Texas. It's in California, places like San Francisco and other cities. So sadly, I will not be able to do anything on it, but if you're in California or Texas, or then you will be able to do and ride it, which is pretty cool. You can go check that out. Now Tesla, since it just came out, I don't have anything much on it, but in 2019, Musk actually promises that there will be a Robotaxi soon. Soon, I thought maybe 6 months or 1 year, but 5 years later, just a few days ago, in the event, Elon Musk rides the Robotaxi to event, and the whole event is just about the Robotaxi and the Optimus robot, which you might have seen. Now, since we have the history done, we can talk about some common challenges they both have. So both cars are categorized on a level. Level 0 will be literally no self-driving, 1 will be least self-driving, and 5 will be the most. Waymo has been out for a few years now, and people have tested it, and it has been coming out to level 4. As you can see in this graph, level 4 is second to last level, which means it is pretty good. Tesla FSD, not the Robotaxi. I don't have any info on the Robotaxi since it just came out a day ago. So the Robotaxi, we don't know yet, but FSD for regular Teslas is actually 2 to 3. So I do expect the Robotaxi to be 4 too, maybe even 5, because we don't know yet. But to be at least a safe and good car to ride, I would expect 4, since 3 is not the best experience for Robotaxis. So now camera versus LiDAR. Waymo has both cameras and LiDARs. As you can see in this, it just has so many cameras and sensors everywhere, and riding this I would feel kind of safe. It has so much technology to help it. As you can see in this picture, the Waymo has so much cameras and sensors and LiDARs helping it see its surroundings and drive safely. As you can see in these pictures, Tesla does not have much cameras. I think the same amount of cameras a regular Tesla has. That's probably the same thing. As you can see in this picture of the wheel, you can kind of see this camera here, I guess, but I don't see anything else like LiDAR or anything, so I would probably choose Waymo for safety rather than this. Now control, you cannot control the Tesla at all. It has no control. If it broke down, you'd have to call a tow truck or something. Since it has no steering wheel, it has no pedals, you just sit down. As you can see here, it's just a normal Tesla screen and that's it. Waymo is actually based off of a normal car, but it is based off of a normal car. You can see here, it has a steering wheel inside and everything. It's like a normal car, but they added the software into it and all the sensors. So you can obviously steer it if it breaks down or something. So rather than the Tesla, if you break down, you can't do anything with it. You can steer the Waymo. So regulators, You might not know this, but governments need to give licenses to Tesla to put their robotaxis in actual public roads. Waymo is a pretty reliable company. They have been doing this for like over 10 years, 2009 to 2024. 15 years they've been doing this. So they know their stuff and they have so much sensors and everything. So governments will probably go easy and probably give them a license. Tesla, literally a day ago, it'll be hard for them to get a license since governments know nothing about it and they don't know if this is safe enough, if this is good, and if they should trust Tesla or not. And there's no comparison for this last one, insurance and liability. So Tesla and Waymo, if they both get into a crash, who will be reliable? That is a big problem for both companies. If one gets into a crash, there's no driver, so most likely I think Waymo or the company who made the car would pay, but this is a big problem since there'd be nobody to blame for it except the company. So Tesla obviously does not have any cars on the road yet, but Waymo actually does. They have around 1,000 cars in public roads right now. That might not seem like a lot, but each car costs around $500,000, taking in all that sensors and software and LiDAR, cameras, everything. So they need to regulate them too, clean them up, make sure all the sensors are clean and working, update the software. There's just so much into it. So Waymo has made a lot of progress and Tesla is going to have to catch up to that quickly. And taking into that Tesla is going to release them at 2026, Waymo might double their amount of cars on the road by then, so Tesla is going to need to catch up very, very quickly. Now, in conclusion, when you're talking about safety, I honestly would probably feel better in a Waymo. They've been researching and building for 15 years, and they just have so much more sensors and LiDARs and cameras, and Tesla have been just doing this for maybe a few years. This is their first prototype. Waymo has probably done a lot more. So I would probably be more safe in a Waymo, but looks, definitely Tesla. I don't know if you've seen a Waymo car before. This is how it looks like. Waymo cars are just honestly ugly because of all the sensors and stuff, and they just look like a regular car. Tesla Robotaxi, it's just different. It looks pretty nice too. The wheels are different and it's a nice car overall. It looks like a Cybertruck and they actually call it a cyber taxi. So overall safety, I would pick Waymo. Looks, I would probably pick Robotaxi. But that's it for today's video. I'll see you in the next one. It's up to you for which one to pick. I would pick Waymo probably because of safety, but like I said, it's up to you. I will see you in the next one. YouTube Pro out.